Oh, already? We didn't even start.
All right. This is how it's going to start, I
There
guess.
we go.
Cold open question of the week, Gary.
Yes, sir.
Who are two characters from different series that you think would be best friends?
That's a good question.
That's why I ask it.
Two characters from two different series that I think would be best friends. Um, okay, so I've just been watching a couple different shows these last couple days, and there's a show called Lockwood and Company, and it's about spirits and ghosts, things like that, and like in the future something happens or whatever. But I would say that character Lockwood would be good friends with Dean Winchester from Supernatural. I could see the two of them.
I know neither of those shows.
Yes, I
So
kind of
your
figured you
references have gone right over my head.
would. Mm-hmm.
I was thinking maybe Ross and Sheldon, because they're both kind of nerdy, both college professors.
I could see that. Kind of
And
neurotic.
I think Ross might be able to help Sheldon with his game.
It's a good possibility, but then Sheldon did get married, so
Yeah. There's
that's
even
a
a
good one.
blind squirrel finds a nut. As they
Exactly.
say.
I like that.
All right, well, let's get the show started. Tonight on the Rolen Show, we will review the Royal Rumble, the rigged NFL, and more. All tonight on the Brian Lennon Show. All right, welcome into the Brian Lennon Show podcast on Substack. Just to go over some ground rules here tonight, or not ground rules, some, what the hell?
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping. We have this past week, Gary, we had our 1000th download of the Brian Lennon Show. Thank you. Yeah. So that was the kind of exciting mark to make.
Yeah.
One other thing, always check out the Brian Lennon Show on Substack. It's the brianlennonshow.substack.com. You guys, Gary, can you hear me?
Yes. Mm-hmm. You were frozen.
Your screen is.
Yep.
Yeah, your screen's frozen too. So just want to make sure.
I can still hear you.
Tonight we have a special guest, a returning guest, John Crimella.
How's it going?
From the Distracted Dads podcast. Also, John, you started a Substack as well, correct?
I did, as a kind of a therapy thing for myself. Just whatever I want to get out there, put out there, and move on with my day.
And what's the name of your Substack so listeners can check that out as well?
I don't even remember at this point. I think it's just my name. Yeah, it's just my name.
Okay, so John Crimella, JohnCremella.substack.com.
Yep.
So check out. I think you had 2 posts.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
and it'll be
and
whenever
I
the
felt like I got
spirit
hit by a
hits
truck
them.
after that.
I read it. It was very very personal.
Yep.
And I learned things about you I didn't know. So it was kind of an eye-opening read. So would definitely recommend it to anyone. Very personal and emotional.
Yep.
So and we may also be joined in a few minutes by John's daughter, Emmy.
Yep, she is finishing homework.
So she's just finishing up her homework. She's going to join us to talk about the Royal Rumble. She watched all 4+ hours of it.
And we went to the SmackDown at the end of the year here in Tampa, the one that John Cena appeared at. So
John Cena and his bald spot.
Yes, his bald spot. And I blew out my daughter's eardrum as Charlotte Flair returned.
Oh.
Because I called it, and that was why I was so excited.
Gotcha. And how old is Emmy?
She is 13 going on 37.
Okay. I have one of them as well.
Yes.
So, all right. What the hell is that?
Oh my God, there's a drum roll.
Is that a new?
It's the boom. Yeah, I don't know.
The boom of doom.
I thought maybe it fit right there.
All right. Before we get into the Royal Rumble and the rigged NFL, just a funny story. I would listen to college radio here at Marywood University. And the DJs, who are all probably 18, 19, 20 years old, she comes on the air after the song and she says, "That was INXS." So I now have the screen on my car where I can see who the artist is. And I'm like, who? I'm like, In Excess?
Yeah.
So that is now their new name according to the younger generation.
We are very old.
Oh.
The INXS.
Nice.
You ever heard of them, Gary?
Mm.
They try to take an exit off the interstate.
Wow.
Do you guys find yourselves coming across that where people make references to things that?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The kids especially know that they have TikTok and all that stuff, and they go, "You should really hear this great thing." And I go, "You mean the thing that I heard 35 years ago?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get that at school with some of my kids.
Was it great then, and it's not great now?
It happened. That was. It's actually a kid I know. I used to coach him playing baseball. He's a DJ for Marywood University, and I think it was for. Was it? I think it was Depeche Mode. I think he called them like Depeche Mode or something. I'm like, okay.
Lord have mercy.
So.
Oh yeah.
That's the world we're heading into.
Sounds about right.
There's Emmy. Just one other quick question: yes or no to both of you? Scott Rolen, Hall of Famer?
No.
Scott Rolen.
If Scott Rolen is a Hall of Famer, there are way too many people that aren't in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah,
and Brian, you and I have talked about this. Dale Murphy has way more NL MVPs than Scott Rolen will ever have.
Yeah. Scott Rolen only finished in the top 10, I think, of the MVP voting once in his career.
And Murphy won it twice.
Yeah. So, but Scott Rolen's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
All right.
Evidently, he was up against nobody.
Is Emmy able to hear us?
Come here. I'm going to try to figure out how to do that.
Just unplug the headset.
Okay.
Hi, Emmy. Hi, Emmy.
Hello, Emily.
Oh, you have to turn the volume up.
Oh, he's getting the dad face.
Work the computer?
No.
Oh, this should be fun.
That's what I have kids for. Technology.
When they're willing to help. All right, now you guys can.
Yeah.
Stop. Do not move.
Oh Lord. Oh, that's precious. Yeah.
Oh, now you're going again.
Oh.
What did you do? This is your fault, Gary.
Now we hear you.
All right, you can hear me guys now?
Yep. I got you now.
And John, I can hear John now.
You have to unmute yourself.
Yep. It's
all right. Hi, Emmy.
You can't hear now. Mute.
No, they can't hear me. I think we need the whammy.
I remember how you use it now.
right there. There you go. There it is.
All right, you guys can hear us?
Yes.
All right. How about a round of applause for that?
Not enough beer yet.
All right. All right. Well, welcome, Emmy, to the Brian Lennon Show podcast.
Hello.
Where did you go?
She's.
Oh Lord.
She's.
Noise.
All right. Well, let's get.
Put it up.
Emmy, as the resident wrestling expert, what was your overall opinion of the Royal Rumble?
I don't think Rhea Ripley should have won.
Who would you have liked to have seen one?
I wanted Naomi to come out because that's what he said that was happening. Then now I thought that was actually going to happen. Then he ruined it for me.
How big of a
That's what dads are
disappointment?
for.
Yeah, exactly.
It gets worse, Emmy. Okay. How disappointing was it that Naomi didn't show up?
I kind of figured she wasn't going to show up after Rock didn't show up, but it was very disappointing.
Now, are you normally a Naomi fan, or were you just looking forward to her coming back?
I didn't remember who she was until he said Neon Girl, and then I was like, oh, wait. And then he said something about her going to the Bloodline, and then that whole thing went to dust.
She should have
came.
She should have came back during the Mountain Dew Black match.
Yeah,
That would have been the
She would've fit
perfect
right
time
in.
for her to come back.
You'd have seen her from space.
I don't even know who she is. Now I gotta look her up.
She's married to one of the Usos.
Jay, the one that left.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
She's nothing. I never really cared for her personally. Like, she
No,
didn't do
but
anything for me.
She would have fit the storyline right up until the end.
Yeah, I think she would have played a nice part to the Bloodline storyline.
Mhm.
And she may come back Friday, who knows.
Right.
Okay, I kind of.
Now,
recognize
Emmy,
her.
were you happy with Cody Rhodes winning the men's Royal Rumble?
I didn't really care about that one. I was kind of sad that The Rock didn't come, though. That was the main reason I wanted to watch that one. Because of him again.
I think that's just a lot of the internet hype they got. There was so much, and even if it wasn't The Rock, then it was Austin, and if it wasn't Austin, then it was somebody else. And I think
They should have brought back Jericho.
I was hoping for
on
Austin.
AEW.
That's what I was hoping for. But
I think the Royal Rumble has kind of underwhelmed as far as like the surprise appearances since
Right.
AJ Styles, really, which was I think 2016 or
16,
17.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Booker T was the surprise this year,
Pat
Right.
but he didn't even wrestle.
yeah, he just came out.
And you knew Booker T wasn't going to really factor into the road to WrestleMania.
Right.
Oh, the Michelle girl coming out from the audience.
You did like that part.
Michelle McCool, yeah.
That was shocking.
And
That
she
was
hung
the-
around for a while.
That
Yeah.
was my whole thing was, I mean, it's been a while since I've watched, but like the women's one, I knew like 4 of them.
The majority of those people were from NXT or had just been up from NXT.
Yeah. Well, I like I said, I knew none of them. I was
You
like,
knew Becky and you knew Bailey.
I thought
you know what the
Nia
worst part?
Jax
I didn't really know
beat the crap
Bailey.
out of everyone, but then they all beat the crap out of her.
That's what Colin kept saying. Well, you know Bailey. I'm like, I go, no, I don't kind of remember. I don't remember her either. I remember
That's
Becky
because
Lynch.
Bailey wasn't back.
Riley
Ugh.
or Ripley. I know her.
Yeah.
Then I knew the
Bailey's
big mama who came out. What was
Nia Jax.
Yeah, Nia Jax. I remember her.
Now, Gary, out of the women, again, you're coming into it. You don't really follow it closely.
Mhm.
Who kind of impressed you the most out of the women in the Royal Rumble? Like who's still in your mind, here 3 days later?
None of them. the ones I just named because they're the only ones I know.
All right.
So that was it. No, there was.
Emmy, what about
I
you?
wasn't impressed
Who,
with that match at all. It was just kind of boring. Like there was
Me?
just no. It was just there was nothing, like lively to it. I guess you could say. Like at least the other one, there was that jump between those 2 goofballs who.
Ricochet and
Yeah.
Logan Paul.
Logan
another-
Paul.
Yep.
He needs to go.
That was the only really exciting part of that one too. Other than that, that match was kind of dull and boring. You knew what was going to happen. Like I said, I was hoping they were going to bring him out at 29, and then 30 was going to be another surprise guest of some sort, and that didn't happen. And so as soon as 29 came out, you knew he was going to be 30. So I mean, you knew who won the match already. It was so that was kind of boring.
Emmy, for you, for the women, you weren't happy with Rhea winning it. What woman's performance kind of stood out for you?
Dark Asuka and then Liv Morgan, because after whatever her face did, like the spray thingy, she almost pushed off Rhea Ripley.
Yeah,
And I
they
don't
were.
like that they did the exact same thing for the men and the women. They did like the first two people were in the longest.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was very true. Although I will say
It's
for-
impressive, but it's lame. Like switch it up.
for the women, Liv Morgan doesn't get enough credit. She just gets that, oh, well, she got her push because the audience wanted her push.
Luke, go inside.
But the way that she handled herself in that match, or at least the way that they positioned her, she was good. She was good throughout.
Getting beat up.
Rhea
most of
was on the
time.
mat and rolled outside more than Liv. Liv was in the action 90% of the time.
Even if she was just getting beat
And
up by everyone else.
I thought that they played it off pretty well, that they kept her in for as long as they did. I thought it was pretty impressive that 1 and 2 finished that match. And it was too quick for Asuka to come back as the other character that she's actually going by now, even though she's going to be called Asuka, was what, Kana, I think, or Kana. I think that's the old school name for her. I just call her Dark Asuka. It was pretty sweet, but it was one of those things where both matches, I think the people that came in second had the best performances, because in the men's match, Gunther was by far the best character and the best performer in that entire match.
Although I don't like his minions.
Yeah, I think Gunther comes out of the Rumble the star. So I think he's held the Intercontinental title for a few months now and kind of brought some of the luster back to that. So I can definitely see him being someone we're going to see.
Uber impressed. Uber
Yeah.
impressed.
I think that they should have brought out one of the Usos or Solo. Just because then you wouldn't have just had Roman fight. Then it would be,
That was surprised that none of the bloodline was in the Rumble.
yeah.
Even as that kind of like, if we
Or
win, we
Sammy.
can protect him type deal.
Or
Yeah, I also thought there might be a scenario where like Sammy won the Rumble, and maybe by eliminating one of the Usos or Sikoa to win it.
Right. Even if it was
And,
like that not accidental
Yes.
elimination.
But you knew the Cody guy was going to win because of the whole surgery thing and coming back.
Yeah, it was very John Cena from what, 2008?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'll look back for the men's Rumble. I think, if we look back at this in 5 years, you're going to see Sheamus, Drew McIntyre, Bobby Lashley, Brock Lesnar, and Gunther. Like at one point, there was a lot of beef in that ring, and you think they're filling up the Alamo Dome, which is a football stadium, and with the chops and the sounds, you need guys of that size and that caliber to kind of put on that sort of show. And when you compare that to like, say, AEW, they don't have anyone. I don't think they have one person that size.
Brody
Let
Lee may
alone-
have been that guy, but that's that unfortunateness is he might have been the only guy that might have had that stature at some point.
Yeah. So I think we might look back at this Rumble and think like, wow, we were kind of lucky to watch all these guys, be in the Rumble at one time.
Well, and like you said, you throw in, Booker T coming back, Edge coming back, just some of the guys that they had in there. I was very happy to see the Miz thrown out like almost instantly. Same with Baron Corbin, guys that you're like, these guys should have been in the match, but for exactly how long they were in the match, which was not very long.
Right.
And I guess the whole angle with Rey Mysterio, he actually got hurt Friday night for real. And that's why they had to write him out of the story, because I guess the original idea from all the dirt sheets and stuff was that it was going to kind of kick off Rey versus Dominic for WrestleMania.
That's not going to happen.
But and to me too, that's another group that I don't think is getting as much credit as they probably should, and that's Judgment Day.
I don't
because
think Dominic can wrestle though, even if it's fake.
I don't disagree with that, but they dominated their portion of the match right up until Edge came out and kind of screwed that up, and that was to be expected too.
But that's like with the women's, whenever they like had all of Judgment Day go out and then they had all of Damage Control go out, like right one after the other. So it's kind of not fair to everyone else. Because then you have them teaming up on everyone.
But that's the kind of the point of the faction in a Rumble like that.
Right. I was also waiting when Ray didn't come out. I was thinking, oh, maybe they're going to have a surprise at the end. And like
a 31st entrant, but really the replacement for Ray. I did too.
But that never materialized either. So
see, I was going off of the whole Ray never came out, so technically he was never eliminated. And then Rhodes jumps over the rope and jumps out of the ring. And I thought they were gonna
have like stagger out, and all he's gonna do is walk into the ring.
Be like basically Rey Mysterio's the winner. But then I was like, they're not setting Ray up for WrestleMania. It was whole Cody Rhodes thing. So
well, we haven't talked about Kofi's botched landing again too this year, 2 years in a row.
Is he okay?
The funny part was listening to Michael Cole and all of them try to say his foot's not on the ground. His foot's not on the ground. I'm going, every part of him is on the ground, dude. His foot just happens to be in the air. He missed. And then you were like, well, is he getting back into the ring? And then he was just gone.
Yeah, it was gone.
Yeah, they
never went back to that. They never filled in that part.
So I'm wondering if he was supposed to.
He was supposed to land in the chair and be able to get back into the ring.
I think he got hurt. He just couldn't get back in because I mean they kept the whole thing was his foot's still up there, he has, and so I thought he was going to get back in, and then all of a sudden like you said,
well, I thought
they were gone. And I'm like,
well, then he was jumping over all over.
Mm-hmm.
He was like,
well, maybe Friday, they'll have Ray and Kofi in, and the winner gets to challenge Cody Rhodes or something.
Yeah,
I don't think that will happen though because they're going to set Cody up for WrestleMania.
Well, he's already said they've already got him fighting Reigns.
I missed Monday. I completely forgot. I was
all right, let's talk about the main event, which was, the pre-main event was Roman Reigns versus KO.
Yeah.
The real main event happened afterward. Mm-hmm. What were your impressions of that and how it was kind of handled by creative?
I called it.
I think at the point where Roman started to bash Kevin Owens' head into the stairs, when it started to go, which, by the way, the back of his head hit that top step, especially the first time.
Yeah.
Yes.
That might have been one of the nastiest spots I've seen in a long time. And that stadium went silent.
Mm-hmm.
I was waiting to see like the back of his head, like
some sort of blood
wide
trickling
open
or something. How he wasn't bleeding from that, I don't know, because
he had to have had a concussion.
He had to have had something on the back of his head, though. They probably had like a fake implant.
No, you're way overthinking it. That's nice that you think that.
Okay, well, I don't know.
I will say that they exceeded any storyline that they've done in the past 15, 20 years with this storyline. And the masterstroke, as everybody and their brother knew Sammy was going to hit Reigns. The masterstroke was Jay rolling out of the ring and not doing anything.
I don't think that's true.
But with Jay, you have to remember when he came back, he didn't want anything to do with this, and he fought Roman. He fought Roman multiple times, including at Hell in a Cell in 2020, and then finally capitulated and joined the Bloodline. Now, here's an interesting question for that. On the Monday Night Raw before the Rumble, the Usos defended the tag titles against Judgment Day. And Jimmy got hurt. And Sammy said, let me fight for Jimmy. So technically, Jay and Sammy won that match.
So they're the tag team champions.
If they're splitting up the Uso brothers. But Jay and Sammy won the titles technically the last time. It's going to get real. There's so many angles that this can go.
It'll be a match between Sammy and Jimmy.
We've talked about this right after the fact and said, is this how they bring in The Rock?
Oh, can I tell that story?
Yep. Go ahead.
We think that Jay is going to bring Rikishi and have Rikishi talk to Jimmy and possibly Solo. Although I feel like Solo's not really part of any of this.
He's their brother.
I know, but still.
And Rikishi is their father.
Then
So he's part of it. I'm just saying.
the tag team, though. Then whenever Rikishi talks to them,
Roman attacks Rikishi.
Roman attacks Rikishi.
Then that's how they bring in The Rock.
Then The Rock comes.
Because he's the one that has to come and
Oh my God!
break and
I
defend the
put it all
family.
together.
Oh my God.
Rikishi stood up for The Rock.
She came up with
with
it
the
herself the
car.
other night, but she's blonde.
with the car, and now Rock is gonna save Rikishi because Rikishi got beat up. Now The Rock is gonna beat up Roman, even though he's gonna lose.
It's a general theory, but I don't think they have to do that anymore.
There's
Also,
thinking
my
that maybe
theory
Jay brings The Rock in, and then that maybe sets up Rock and Roman
Right.
for Mania. Maybe just Jay himself brings it in,
Right.
or Rikishi too could talk to him.
Because the whole quote unquote story is that The Rock isn't in cardio shape to wrestle at WrestleMania, and I'm like,
He has
Really?
60 days.
So,
Yeah.
Did you watch the press conference afterwards?
I've seen
didn't.
parts of it.
Okay, so I, for some reason, sat through the whole thing, and Triple H came out. He was the last one, and someone asked him about The Rock, and he said, that he's a very busy man, and he's always it's an open door. He can come back anytime he wants. So it's like he goes, I know we're gonna be in LA and everything. He goes, and someone did bring up that whole thing about he said something about him not being in shape or whatever. He's like, have you seen what he looks like? He goes, not in shape. He's just a very busy man, and it's just sometimes he just can't get away from what he's doing to come here. He goes, but he's always welcome anytime he wants to come back. He could just show up. So they didn't really say whether he was. I don't know if they were just just trying to throw shade or what it was, and maybe they're just trying to keep it really under wraps, or maybe he really is just that busy that he just can't make it back for anything.
Maybe he just even shows up, one of the nights of Mania to help Sammy take
Or
one of the
interfere.
titles.
I
maybe-
think that they're hyping the fact up that he's not gonna be there too much for him to not show up. Because he'll end up getting backlash for that, and then he'll be like, psych, I'm here.
Mhm.
That was disgusting.
Well,
You could come back and
I
help
think though that
Cody.
out of all of this, the biggest loser is Cody Rhodes,
Mhm.
because where does he fit in this story other than he won the Rumble and has to go face the champ?
He doesn't. And
I
the
mean-
biggest thing, the only real reason that he's winning is because of his whole theme about being his big comeback.
Well, yeah, but that if he hadn't gotten hurt, he would have been in Mania fighting for the title because of just the story.
I don't think it would have happened by Rumble though.
No, I think you're going to see Sammy fight Reigns at Elimination Chamber. I think that's got to be a solution there, because otherwise, if The Rock comes back, where does Sammy fit into that? Because Cody's got to fight him, and if The Rock comes back, he's going to fight him. And what, Roman can't fight 3 times? It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So I
I wonder
can't.
if they're thinking of getting both, if they're splitting up the belts. Maybe he fights Cody for the WWE Championship on Saturday.
I think that's what's going to be, and then it's just who's that second opponent? Do we bother with The Rock or the quote unquote Austin theory, or not the Stone Cold theory that The Rock's not going to be here, we're going to bring in Stone Cold, here's a big money offer and he'll fight Reigns, which makes even less sense than The Rock showing up.
Yeah.
I think their best bet is to actually play Sammy versus Roman at the Elimination Chamber. And I could see Jay turning on Sammy there too to save Roman. And that could set up a Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn versus the Usos for the tag titles at WrestleMania.
I don't think that'll happen.
That's one way to go. I don't think that's the right way to go. I think the right way to go is the way they're going. And I think they've got to let it play out,
Well, you're
which
saying that
they haven't done in so long. They just set it up for so obvious. that's what happens.
You're saying that Sammy might be the one holding the title and it might not be Jimmy, but then you're also saying that he's going to be tag team with whatever his face is.
Well, what happens to Kevin Owens now? He's not done with this story either.
Well, I think he has a concussion,
If he doesn't, holy shit.
so he should be out for a few weeks, probably 4 to 6 weeks. I would not expect to see him.
Yeah. If he shows up on Friday, whew,
I'd expect to see him. I just don't think he'll fight. I think he'll tamper with the bloodline. Well, the broken bloodline, but still. Ooh, pen.
Did any of the when he was handcuffed to the ropes and getting beat, did that seem a little tone deaf to either of you on the heels of the Memphis police video being released the night before with
Wait.
Tyree Nichols?
a little bit, but it probably played no part in that, and they were so committed to that storyline, and I think that's what made it so good that I don't think they could have pulled back if they wanted to, no matter what. I mean, it's one of those things where, unfortunate, they have so many times real life play out right as the storyline's going through that you're like, now what do we do? And at some point, you've just got to pull the trigger and just say, well, we're going to roll the dice, and this is how it's going to go.
I think what they need to do is ask the actual bloodline what they think should happen, and then go with what they say.
They're just paid actors.
I'm being honest with you. I was not listening to what you just said.
No,
so
we gathered that.
We sensed that. It just with the handcuffs and all that, it just was like,
yeah,
it couldn't have been a worse time.
Much anyway. It wasn't like he could defend himself whether he was chained up or not.
I feel like they should have just not done that part and just hit him over the head of the chair and just let Solo and the Usos beat him up. But
Well, they don't allow head chair shots anymore.
You get fined.
Just against
the last two people who did that got fined. Do you remember? It was Triple H and The Undertaker.
Oh, really?
Yeah. At their last match at WrestleMania, they both got fined. I think it was like $150,000 a piece because they each hit each other in the head with a chair.
okay, well, they're loaded, so that's
I was gonna say, if there's two guys that are gonna go for the guy,
Pocket change.
So.
you're not gonna fire the boss's son-in-law or the Undertaker.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna move on to the rigged NFL. Emmy, you're more than welcome to.
No, she's gonna go to
stay
bed.
with us.
Otherwise, she's gonna give her
Thank
mother
you.
fits in the morning.
Good night.
Thank you for joining us.
Say bye.
Bye.
Say thank you.
Bye.
You broke things.
I don't think I did anything, but goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Yep, that's what I put up with. Bye.
All right. So Sunday night, #rigged NFL was trending on Twitter. John, did you watch the games?
Little people right now.
I watched none of them.
You didn't watch either game?
Nope.
I didn't watch the first game, and I got home just before halftime of the second game. They did show a replay of the guy screaming in with his hands waving and everything, but yeah.
No, I watched.
Tell that to the people of Cincinnati.
I watched a bunch of shows. The only thing I did with the NFL was all the text messages that you guys were sending, and then I would check my Score Mobile to see what it was. That was it. Other than that, I didn't bother. I watched Peacemaker with John Cena.
Well, let me ask you guys, do you think the NFL rigs games? General overview.
Yes. Not as bad as the NBA, but yes.
Yeah, I could. I mean,
Let's hear from the Patriots fan.
Yes, no, I could see it. No, we got screwed out of a couple games this year with some bad calls. I don't know what's going on with these referees. I did love the meme of Mahomes trading jerseys with the referee. That was nice. I like that one. But yes, I believe they do. I mean, some of these calls are just ridiculous. I mean, I didn't watch any of the games, but going through Twitter and all that, scrolling through, people complain about stuff, watching clips where, what was it, on that, the one return or whatever, there was like 2 blocking the backs that were blatant. There was the one play from Mahomes where there was a hold and he ran like 15 yards or something like that. And I mean, you could see where the guy was being, I mean,
tackled. It wasn't a hold, it was a tackle.
it's not like there's one referee sitting out there that has to do the whole entire game. There's an entire fleet of them out there, and not one person could see this, but yet they could catch the simplest hold where like you couldn't even tell if it was a hold, and then they're calling that, and you'd have to like go through slow motion replay to see it. It's definitely rigged.
Well, I've officiated football on a high school level and below, but we're taught there's a penalty on every play.
Yeah,
it's whether you're going to call it or not.
Yes.
If there's a sweep to the right side and the left tackle, holds the defensive end on the left side, does it impact
as egregious?
Right. Does it impact the play? No, let it go. All right. But it seemed like the officials in that Cincinnati Kansas City game were very selective. Kansas City was only flagged 4 times,
which is nuts.
Maybe 5 times. And the thing that bothered me was so many of those flags, especially late in the game, came so late, almost like after the play was over.
Okay.
And again, I was kind of in a little debate with a friend on Facebook regarding this, and I said, WWE officials wear earpieces, and so do NFL referees now. I said, and we know the WWE is scripted. And the friend replied, that he's worn earpieces to communicate with fellow officials. He does like lacrosse down south, which maybe they do use earpieces. But also I've noticed in the last 3 years since I've been watching kind of the playoffs again, there's like 3 other NFL officials, referees on the sidelines, also with earpieces. And so it wouldn't surprise me at all if there's people in the league offices, as they call it, basically watching every section of the play, and can tell the official on the field or the official just off the field, throw a flag, it's going to be 76 with a hold. And then the other part that bothers me is now you have retired officials who apparently don't work for the NFL anymore.
Yeah, they work for the networks.
Wink, wink. Who are there then to explain to us peons why the officials on the field made the right call.
To try to, I think what you're trying to do is it's the alibi.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So Gene Steratore is there basically, affirming the on-field officials that it's correct. And I'm sure, his salary is maybe being half paid by the NFL and CBS to then, explain why, the play is right. And, we've seen where one NBA official can impact the outcome of a game with that Donahue or whatever his name was.
Oh, yeah.
So people are saying, well, do you think the Cincinnati defensive backs are in on this, that they would let this go? But the truth of the matter is they don't need to.
I mean, again, the only thing that was egregious was the personal foul penalty of roughing the quarterback as he ran out of bounds at the end to put him in the field goal range. But I mean, you can go back to the middle or the early part of the season when Brady got the roughing the passer call against him, that it was like the old WCW finger poke of doom. And he tumbled over 3 times and went, "Oh God, I'm crippled." 15 yards. You're Tom Brady. Here we go. To me, that's a Tom Brady call. And then it happened the next week to another quarterback, and it's like, did we breathe too hard on this guy? I mean, I honestly, I'm not an NFL fan. I have no stake in any team. I have no horse in the race. But they need to take those helmets off and just put the leather helmets back on and make those guys actually play football. Because, can you hear me?
I could hear you. Yes, we're good.
Okay.
He must be out again.
If you take put those leather helmets back on them.
Yeah. No, even those stupid is it a catch or not? I'm like, you have the ball, you've already crossed the plane, now you rolled out of bounds. I mean, I thought that was the whole thing. Once that ball crosses the plane, it's a touchdown.
Right.
But now it's like,
it doesn't even cross the plane, it has to touch the white line.
Now, well, yeah, exactly. But now it's now it's you gotta make sure you have control of it when you're going down to the ground and all this. I'm like, seriously? I'm like, then.
Well, that's just like when Kansas City's receiver reached the ball out and they had called him short and they reviewed it. Where's the angle that shows that both knees were up, his elbow wasn't down? And how do you know that camera is straight down that line to say that that's truly a first down? At some point, there has to be some form of human error allowed. In everything. I
mean, that's we got New England got screwed in that game against. Crap, who was? Well, no, it was the.
Yeah, but I'd say the same thing about Florida.
It was the Henry touchdown. I mean, that was a touchdown. That ball was under his hand. It was over the line. So I thought, over the line, it's a touchdown. Isn't that what the whole thing is? It's crazy.
Gary, let me tell you, for on behalf of all the listeners of the Brian Lennon Show,
yes,
for someone who benefited from the tuck rule, to complain about any calls going against them.
That was.
We do not feel sorry for you.
That was so yesterday.
Well, that was another issue I had with the NFL over the weekend, was kind of those, some calls had to be challenged. The coach had to throw the flag. Others, miraculously, quote unquote, were expedited on the field.
Or the officials got together and we saw it this way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there was one play. I think it was a sack on Mahomes, and
it was the one where he threw the ball, but his knee was down, and they said it. I thought it was past the line anyway, but then they said they did not go to the review because Cincinnati threw the review flag to challenge that his knee was down. But the officials came back and miraculously somebody out of that group saw that his knee was down before he let the ball go. So he was down by contact there.
Right. So at some point, these officials were miraculously able to make their own minds up without having to consult with a monitor, an earpiece, or whatever it is.
Or did they get the earpiece notification of, what are you idiots doing?
Yeah. And I'll tell you, as an official, like I've officiated basketball, football, and baseball. How you carry yourself as an official can be night and day for a game. Because if you carry yourself, like you're unsure, the crowd is going to get on you, the coaches are going to get on you, the players are going to get on you. Mm-hmm. And those guys that were in charge of that game, it was so poorly run.
They looked dazed and confused the entire day.
Yeah. It was almost like they just kept waiting for direction. Mm-hmm. They had no mind of their own as to what they were doing. And I think it showed. So finally, are you guys going to watch the Super Bowl?
It'll be on.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever not watched the Super Bowl.
The Flash trailer is going to play during it, so I have to watch that.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. Is I usually then if it's teams I don't care about, I watch it for the commercials, really. So yeah, I will have it on.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to watch it because I'm once again soured on the NFL.
Yeah, I'll have it on.
I kept thinking it was going to be a San Francisco, Cincinnati. Now San Francisco, that poor ambulance team was just terrible watching. I don't know how many quarterbacks you can lose, but evidently 4 is the number, and then you have to bring a cripple back in to play quarterback.
Oh,
and he finished 4 for 4.
who actually came in?
He couldn't throw the ball. He threw one.
Purdy had to come back in because the other guy got a concussion and he with his torn UCL.
Oh, okay. So Purdy did finish the game.
He threw a 4-yard screen pass,
like on the second play of the game.
Oh, that was it.
Yeah. And then their fourth string quarterback had to come in, and he got a concussion. So Purdy had to come back in the second half because they didn't have anything else.
Yeah, who came in after Purdy got hurt?
Josh Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And to explain how old Josh Johnson is, I think I once had him on my fantasy football team. And when was the last time I played fantasy football?
14?
2004, maybe?
Been a while. No, I played it since then.
Did you play it after?
I think it was 14.
Was it?
14 might have been my last year.
Yeah.
All right. Before we go to Gary's News of the Weird, some exciting news for next week. We're going to have a special guest, musical guest. I don't know if this guest will play music for us, but we're very excited to have this guest. I'm not going to tell you their name. You'll have to tune in. But they have I guess it's a national recording artist. Call it that. And they have a album dropping on, I believe, February 17th. And they're going to be on next week to talk some music with us.
Can we say the genre? Did you say it?
I did not say it.
I didn't think you did.
And
you
he's
want
not
to say it or no?
No, you'll have to tune in.
Okay. All right.
Pay attention, Gary.
I did start listening though.
Oh, good. What do you think so far?
Not bad. You were right. The one song. It was weird because I don't know how if it's actually off of an album. I just started playing from the top or whatever when I went to Spotify, and so the one song was a Petty
sounds
and then the other one completely different. I'm like, wow, that is so weird.
People from Gainesville, oddly enough, may like this artist.
Mm-hmm.
Is that fair, Gary?
Yeah, we'll say that.
Yeah,
I'm hooked already.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's go to News of the Weird. And now it's time for News of the Weird with your host, Gary McDaniel. And live from the Tampa newsroom, we'll check in with Gary McDaniel. Gary, what is the news today?
Yes, sir. So, bring back dodo. Ambitious plan draws investors, critics. The dodo bird isn't coming back anytime soon, nor is the woolly mammoth. But a company working on technology to bring back extinct species has attracted more investors, while other scientists are skeptical such feats are possible or a good idea. Colossal Bioscience first announced its ambitious plan to revive the woolly mammoth 2 years ago, and on Tuesday said it wanted to bring back the dodo bird too. The dodo is a symbol of man-made extinction, said Ben Lamb, a serial entrepreneur and co-founder and CEO of Colossal. The company has formed a division to focus on bird-related genetic technologies. The last dodo, a flightless bird about the size of a turkey, was killed in 1681 on the Indian Ocean island of Mauritius. The Dallas company, which launched in 2021, also announced Tuesday it had raised an additional $150 million in funding. To date, it has raised $225 million from wide-ranging investors that include United States Innovative Technology Fund, Briar Capital, and InQtel, the CIA's venture capital firm which invests in technology. The prospect of bringing the dodo back isn't expected to directly make money, said Lamb, but the genetic tools and equipment that the company develops to try to do it may have other uses, including for human health care. For example, Colossal is now testing tools to tweak several parts of the genome, simultaneously. Oh my God. Parts of the genome simultaneously. It's also working on technologies for what is sometimes called an artificial womb. The dodo's closest living relative is the Nicobar pigeon, said Beth Shapiro, a molecular biologist on Colossal's scientific advisory board, who has been studying the dodo for 2 decades. Shapiro said by the Howard Hughes Medical Institute, which also supports the Associated Press Health and Science departments. Her team plans to study DNA differences between the Nicobar pigeon and the dodo to understand what are the genes that really make a dodo a dodo.
Gary, do you just find the article with the biggest words and say that's going to be?
Yes. Yeah. Let's see if I can pronounce.
Other than the dodo, what animal or species would you decide to bring back?
Nothing. This is like some Jurassic Park crap. This is what happens, and then they start experimenting, and then now they're making a
dinosaurs take over the world.
A dodo tiger, and then it's like now we're like.
What about a saber-toothed tiger? That'd be
saber-tooth. Yeah. See, no. I don't really know of any other
in the ocean. Was it called a mastodon or something?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Megalodon.
Megalodon.
That's it.
Yes.
Yeah. No, thank you.
Now, if you could bring back any celebrity, which one would you bring back?
George Carlin.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. Or
he would lose his shit if he came back.
Yeah. That's why I want him back.
Yeah, George Carlin
he would set everybody straight.
John Candy. I'd like little John Candy back.
John Candy?
Out during his prime. Yeah, I loved his movies. Yeah.
All right.
And then
nobody went for like Abraham Lincoln or anything.
Candy.
Albert Einstein. Screw him. We need George Carlin back.
Oh my God. All right, and our last story tonight is fully clothed bathing burglar found in Seattle bathroom. A man suspected of breaking into a Seattle home has refused to come clean about his intentions, even though police found him fully clothed in a bathtub filled with water. A woman returned to her home Friday night to find a window smashed and an unknown man inside the house, according to the Seattle Police Department. She remained outside the home and called police. Upon their arrival, officers instructed anyone inside to come out. When they got no reply, they went in to search the home and found a suspect in the bathroom. The man was clothed but very wet, and the bathtub was full of water, police said in a statement. The 27-year-old man was arrested for a residential burglary and refused to explain his actions, including his choice of a bathing spot, police said. So, yes. Go from dodo to dodo. I kind of wish he explained why he was doing it, but
was he like high on meth or?
They didn't say. He didn't say. There was no toxicology either, I guess. I'm sure there was some sort of drug-related stimuli. So, but yeah, that is news of the weird.
All right, and before we get out of here for this week, update, Gary, have you been in the pool yet?
No, I have not.
Has anyone in your family been in the pool yet?
No. Actually, Colin did want to go in. He dipped his toe in and was like, nope, it's too cold. No, we haven't really, the weather hasn't been like super hot enough for us to actually get into a pool. So, but I mean, it's been running. It's clear. So, I mean, it's not like it's cloudy or anything, but I'm thinking it's supposed to start warming up again starting I mean, not like super warm yet, but
Back into the 80s.
yeah. So I mean, I figure a couple days of like 3 or 4 days of 80s straight with the sun beating down on it, it'll warm it up a little bit. Of course, he was complaining that we didn't get a heater for it now, so I might have to look into that now. Dang it! But
Getting soft.
no, other than that, no, we haven't been in it yet. I've just been out there brushing it every day.
Any update on merch for the Brian Lennon show?
So I do have some stuff printed out. I just have to try to get that little iron thingy that we have to work properly. So it will
The cricket, Gary.
melt the vinyl onto the hats and stuff. So
Still efforting.
yes, I'm still
All
trying.
right.
But we did buy a new thing of vinyl, so I'm going to try that one because it's actually it is cricket vinyl. So we'll see what happens. And then I got to see what type of, I don't know. I think the hat material is different than like a t-shirt. So it's, even though I've done it before, I might have to get the other little, we have 2 irons now. She bought me one that is specifically made for hats. It's got the curve on it.
Okay.
And then we had a small little one that we bought for like smaller little things that you could iron stuff on. So I
Like
I might just
underwear?
go to use that one and see what happens. Because the new one she bought me you have to have an app on your phone to control it. So, and she put it on her phone and she's been going to work every day. So I have to see what I could do. I might work on some tomorrow.
Okay.
So
Tomorrow, JM from Elephant, longtime listener, he's probably going to be coming over to help me put in a new kitchen light and a new ceiling fan with a light in the toy room.
Nice.
So,
You've never put one in before?
No.
That's one thing I can do.
Yeah.
Until
I feel like it's something I feel like I could do it, but I'm going to be
it's
a lot happier to have Jay.
Yeah, it's a lot easier when there's 2 people doing it and you're not the only one trying to hold a lamp, especially a ceiling fan,
Or a
and then
fan,
try
yeah.
to screw it into the thing and do the wires and all that stuff. And then it also helps too that 2 of you are doing it, and not just one person's up there holding a wire, and then your father-in-law's clicking the light switch on and off. So
Rest in
You're going,
peace.
fun.
It's on.
It was good times when we first put this house in.
Is it
And you
on?
remember that. That's even better.
Good times. But yeah, no, it definitely is a lot easier when there's 2 people doing it.
Yeah. So maybe if I get them up tomorrow, I'll post pictures on the Brian Lennon Show Facebook page.
I'll be looking
And
forward to
it
it.
might turn into a whole story. I'll have to write about it.
It's wonderful. Can't wait to not read it.
You don't read anything, right?
I don't read. No. I don't read at all. I click on the link, so that way it looks like I did something, and then I just keep clicking.
You don't read it at all.
So once in a while, I might read the first couple sentences, and then I'm like, okay, that's good enough. I'm good. I got my read in for the day.
Unbelievable.
Well, at least he's honest.
Yeah, you can't blame him. He's being honest. I
I'll
appreciate
give myself
that.
this.
Maybe I'll just have to write about you, Gary.
There you go. There's a lot of stories out there.
That
Or
is
do a whole
true.
book.
I could write a few chapters.
My memoirs by Brian Lennon.
Oh,
Good times. Good times.
what's the crazy? If it's suitable for the podcast, Gary, what's the craziest story you have about me?
I don't think they're suitable for this podcast.
Trying to think of one. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, you've had your quirks every once in a while, like, when you had your blonde hair,
Yes.
those stanky sandals. That's something that's always embedded into my brain.
Yeah.
That smell's actually embedded into my brain. I don't think it'll ever go away.
Yeah. Maybe I'll have to write a few. I'll have to write Tales of Gary or something.
There you go.
Start a little feature.
Sounds good.
What's up, John and Gary? As far as Distracted Dad's podcast, anything coming down the pike for John's Substack?
I got to get something going. I was going to write about the Rumble review, but I have been running ragged this week because he turned 16. Then he had RSV. I had to babysit my dad because my stepmother's sister's in town and they wanted to actually have a day. So me and Emily did that. And yeah, I don't think I could spend any more time at work. I think yesterday I left the house at 6:45 and I got home at 8:30.
We've been very distracted, so we haven't really been able to do much. So we keep talking about it. It's just we just never get around to it.
I really need to do one about Paul working at the bar.
I know, and we should have. You know what? And I should have brought my stuff that night because Paul was like, he goes, "Oh, I would have done it." He goes, "I was just standing there," but he did mention about doing something like maybe going to his house one night, and three of us just sit there and do a show. That's what maybe we need. A couple hours.
You guys should start a Distracted Dad Substack and put your podcast on there.
Do that.
And then we can cross promote.
That's true. Well, I said, I mean, when we're with Paul, we're doing it right from Podbean, and we haven't really done one out like on Zoom in a while, but we could actually still do it on Podbean if we wanted to. We just have to call in, or he sends us the link, and then we just have to go on our phones to do it. We just can't do it on the computer because for some reason it doesn't work. You had to use your phone last time too, right? When you were home? Yeah. So for some reason you can't log into Podbean on your computer and do it. You have to be on your phone app. He's on his computer, but me and John have to be on our phones separate. So
it's very random.
Yeah.
It didn't used to be like that.
Yeah. But oh well, whatever. So one of these days coming up very shortly.
Anything else for the good of the order, as they say?
No, I mean, our special guest next week, and then
special guest next week. That's right. Make sure you tune in.
Then a couple weeks after that, I'll be flying to Europe.
See the true Royal Rumble fallout on Friday night.
Yes, we'll be looking.
See, I'll have to watch. See, I completely forgot about Monday.
You didn't really miss anything. It was a lot.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Okay.
Friday will be.
Rhea chose Charlotte, and they didn't touch on Alexa Bliss at all, which they're setting up that women's elimination chamber match that, to me, at this point, Alexa will win in whatever Bray Wyatt formation of her character she wants it to be. Because that match was too short.
What channel is it on Fridays?
Fox.
Oh, okay. I'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Do you guys have any recommendations for what this podcast should be titled?
The one about the Rumble, or
microphones for the Rumble and the NFL.
Yeah. The one about earbud or earpieces.
Yeah, there we go. All right. Well, thank you, John, for joining us again.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks to your daughter, Emily, as well, for joining us to give us the lowdown on the Rumble. As always, thank you to Gary McDaniel, my co-host and producer extraordinaire. My name is Brian Lennon. We will see you next week. you'll hear from us next week on the Brian Lennon Show podcast. Adieu.